Well, I started as a documentary maker. I graduated from Bournemouth Film School as a documentary director and worked at the BBC in what was the last series of 40 Minutes, their sort of flagship documentary series. And that was a really good grounding for me, and as proved, the place I always go back to when I start a script is doing proper research, and I guess an interest in the people first, and then the story, and then everything else that surrounds it. But it's always the people in the story, which is that documentary sense of really trying to get to the bottom of a person and what makes them who they are, which observational documentary making is all about. So that was my grounding, and I started writing after a long period of unemployment as a documentary director. I was trying to make a documentary about electricity pylon painters, but that was just proving impossible for all sorts of health and safety reasons. And I just thought, this is ridiculous. I'll just make a drama about it, and then all my problems are solved because it'll just be actors. And of course, that took 7.5 years to get made, but it did get made in the end. I suppose it's the tradition of the play for today that's influenced me the most. And the Wednesday play on the BBC. That tradition of very authentic, intimate, kind of lo-fi, if you want, examination of British culture is what really inspired me. And there's a whole range of people from in their different subgenres, from Ken Loach to Dick Clement and Ian La Frenais and Alan Plater, and all stops in between, that gang who were working at the BBC, who really examined sort of working class Britain and had a lot to say about it. We're very political, both with a small p and a capital P. They're the people that again, as your career wanders all over the place, you need to go back to somewhere to remind you of why you're doing it in the first place. And that's where I go back and watch a film like Sponges or something, which is an extraordinary piece of work. Or some of Bleasdale's work. The stuff that was coming out of the BBC then is really fabulous drama that you just don't see on telly. Well, very rarely see on telly now. So that's my biggest influence. I guess the most valuable piece of writing advice I've had is know the difference between drama and melodrama. And it's kind of really simple, is that drama springs from character and melodrama springs from plot. And if your plot is driving the story rather than your character's kind of inner demands, emotions, intentions, then you've got melodrama. If it's the plot that's overriding all those other things. And I found that it's a real kind of touchstone for me that I always go back to. Is the character driving the situation? Would the character do that? If the character wouldn't do that, then you're in the realms of, but he has to because you need him to get here, then you're in the realms of melodrama, and you're in a very dangerous place for a writer like me. So that is a piece of advice I was given 20 years ago that I go back to endlessly.